You're listening to Metal and High Heels, the official podcast from the magazine about metal, lifestyle, and entertainment.
Hey, hello everybody. This is Steffi for the Metal and High Heels podcast. And today we are here with all of us. Pia and Kiki are here with me today too. And we want to talk with you about festival alternatives due to Corona pandemic. And of course, this summer there wasn't anything possible of live concerts and festivals, and so lots of people looking for alternatives, and that's what we want to talk about today.
Yes, we checked out some of them, not all of them, but we thought about some alternatives for live shows, for example, a drive-in cinema, or some bands do streaming from clubs or from somewhere else. Some do acoustic shows on Instagram, on YouTube Live. There are a lot of possibilities and bands are really creative at the moment, but not only bands do something to bring us live music in some way. Also, some festivals started very cool stuff this year for us. In this podcast, we also mentioned the Wacken Worldwide several times, I think. That was what Wacken Festival did. And Tuska also did something that Kiki will tell us more about now.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Tusca Utopia is the name of this travel show meets live performance. And it's a really new concept that apparently came out, obviously, due to the global pandemic. But it combines both the showing of really cool places in Finland, as well as showing us Finnish metal bands performing. So it's actually a pretty new concept. It's not what we have seen before. And right now, the first season is out. That's what they're calling it. It's 3 different episodes with 3 different bands, obviously, and in 3 different locations. And we have watched 2 of them, and we will tell you all about it in a second. But first, I think we should start at the beginning of things.
There was 2020 and we got a pandemic.
It was 2020. The year was 2020. And suddenly nobody could go to a concert. And I think the first thing that bands started doing was, just like everybody who was working from home, they were streaming from home, doing performances in their living rooms and showing that to the world through social media, right?
Yes, on the one hand, they played shows in the living room and streamed that, but they also did other stuff. So some bands do chats with their fans these days a lot, so that they say we are online every Wednesday at 6 p.m. and you can join us in our live stream and chat with us and stuff like that. So bands are really creative these days. And some of them also do Twitch shows, but that's something that you know more about than I do. Yeah, but that's how it started. And unfortunately, some bands also decided very early to postpone their releases so that they are sure that they can go on tour. But for those who had to cancel the shows that were about to be there, I think a lot of them just did this, what you just mentioned. They streamed from their own homes and they did band home office.
Has anybody watched any of those live streams?
Yes, I sometimes watch what the Number Zero does, because I think they also did it before the pandemic, and now these days they do it more often, that they stream from their band practice room.
Steffi, have Have you been watching any kind of live performance?
No, not really. Maybe per accident if I scroll down the good old Facebook timeline. But no, there was none concert where I thought, okay, I need to to watch that. Nope.
When we got together in the summer, we also watched a few.
Yeah, we watched the Wacken Worldwide stuff.
That's true.
And I also watched at least one concert that was streamed from a club. So that also was the number zero, who played in a location in Tokyo where they did concerts before. And this time they played there also together with two people who played the traditional Japanese drums. So that was a special show streamed live on YouTube. And there was also I think a PayPal link where you could contribute to the club. So they did it. I think the deal was they were allowed to play a concert in the club, and people who wanted to give some money, they could give it directly to the club to support it. That was a cool thing, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's maybe also one of the best things, that you support both club or location venue and the artist. Because without a venue, the artist has no place, place to act, place to play, and also very important that they can, keep them alive. And I remember I watched one live stream. It was Mirkur played a few songs live in an acoustic set of her latest album. That's what I watched.
I also read about a band who did something that I think is really cool, but since I wasn't interested in the band so much, I didn't watch it also. They streamed, or they pre-recorded the concert, then they streamed it, and you were able to chat with them during the concert. Or they did a video chat afterwards. I'm not sure, but they did something that was also only open for some fans who paid money for that. So they could watch the stream of the concert, and then they could also interact with the band. So, like, you go to the merch booth and talk to them after the show. So I think that's pretty cool to do something like that, to not only stream the concert, but also use the possibility to interact with your fans. What I think is pretty weird, and what I would never go to, are the drive-in cinema concerts. So when you have to go to the concert with your car and you stay in the car and can watch the show being in your car. And I can also tell you why I would never go there. Because for me, it's pure classism. You have to have a car or have access to a car to be able to go to that show. And I'm pretty sure that the tickets are pretty expensive because you can only let in a few cars, because obviously when you are at a parking lot and you are very much behind, then you can see nothing. So it doesn't make sense to let in so many people to the concert. So very expensive tickets, and you have to have a car to go there. You have to have a specific age so that you're allowed to drive there with your car. And all these things, I don't like it. I would never go there. I can understand when bands do that because they want to do something, they want to play live. I can also understand when fans say, okay, I want to see this band and I have a car and I can afford the ticket. It's totally okay if you go there, but I don't like it at all. For me, it would be, I would never, ever go to a drive-in cinema show.
I've never been to a drive-in anything, so I would totally want to see what it's like. I've actually heard pretty good stuff, pretty good comments about that. I don't personally know anybody who has been at a drive-in show, but I think I've heard podcasts where people talk about that, and it sounds like a lot of fun. Like people apparently climb onto the roofs of their cars and start moshing out, etc. So, or they drive in there in mini buses, and and like park the wrong way, so to speak, so that you can have this kind of tiny living room, maybe in the car, so to speak. So it actually, I think it's also about the experience, you know. It's kind of that maybe a bucket list item thing or a fear of missing out thing. I mean, I would love to be able to say, hey, I went to a drive-in show in 2020.
Yeah, I can also imagine that it's pretty cool. Also, long distance calling wanted to do a drive-in show. It wasn't allowed, or they weren't allowed in the end to do so. But they are mostly an instrumental band, and they use a lot of visuals for the music. So I think that would be a cool thing to watch. But again, for me, it's not a problem that you can have a drive-in show. But if I compare it to the cinema, you can also go to the drive-in cinema and watch a movie. To do that, you also need to have a car. And I don't know how expensive tickets are, but only people who can afford a car or who are able to spend money on borrowing a car are able to go there. But you still have the normal cinemas, you have the pretty expensive cinemas, but you also have the small cinemas, and it's still the same movie. So for me, if a band would say, we do this drive-in shows, but we also play normal shows in smaller clubs, that would also be okay for me. But since not everybody has a car and not everybody has access to a car or can afford a car, I don't like it. For me, it's not a good thing. But again, no offense if somebody wants to go there, and if bands do that, do it, but I'm out.
There was also, and I think we must add to this that we are in Germany, where not much of that is happening that I am so aware of. There was this concept to do music shows in big arenas where people could like stick together in smaller groups and have their own like small place. In the summer there were a few concerts here in Dortmund where it was obviously open air and people sat in like groups of I don't know how many, but smaller groups, and didn't, so to speak, didn't mix with the other people. I didn't go, but that also looked kind of funny. And I think it's just interesting to see what everybody comes up with and how people are trying to stay afloat the crisis.
Yeah, what I found interesting, and I looked that up because I was wondering, I saw that Bodom After Midnight, the band that came out of Children of Bodom, they played a concert in Finland, in Helsinki, not so many days ago. And it was an inside show. So they are allowed, or they were allowed at the moment, to play with less audience, so that not so many people are allowed in the club. So that they can use the space that is there. Probably they don't do it, so maybe this idea doesn't work. I don't know. But yeah, in some countries it's allowed to play maybe smaller clubs or big clubs, but with less audience.
Yes.
That's something that I think I would go to, because I can decide myself whether I want to go in front of the stage or whether I will use this huge space where nobody else is and just watch the show.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it wouldn't work, because too many people would go to the front of the stage like in every normal concert. I can't imagine that it works. Maybe, or I think it will be another super spreader event.
Yeah, I'm very skeptical of that too.
What I also think is weird, when we watched the Wacken Worldwide stuff, there were also some shows streamed from previous years.
Yeah.
So nothing new. They just had it. They just could have released it at any time, I think. So I don't know. I wouldn't count that as an alternative to concerts, because they could just grab a live DVD that I have and put it in my PlayStation 4 and then watch it. So there is no difference to that. But if they do something new, like, for example, the Creator show that we watched, I see a point in there these days.
Yes.
Definitely, I think the Wacken Worldwide shows are quite good, well made. Yeah, there was definitely lots of fun to watch them. And yeah, I think we talked already in detail in a further episode. So yeah, I want to switch to Tuska.
Okay.
All right.
Or do you have anything to add to other concepts?
No, I don't have anything to add. I have some questions for you.
Okay.
What you think about some topics, but we can do that in the end of the podcast. I think it's more interesting when we talk about Tuska first.
Okay, but keep it in mind.
Yes.
Yeah, Tuska. Kiki, you interviewed the CIO of the event. And yeah, we will also put the interview with him at the end of this podcast episode, so you can listen for yourself. Yes, Tusca Utopia. Would you like to describe it, Kiki?
We just started watching it. I think we can just go into detail of the first episodes that are already out and we've already watched. Today is November 22nd, and the first episode premiered on Friday the 13th, November 13th, with Turmion Kattilöt, and they played at Suvilahti in Helsinki, where the festival normally takes place. It was at a part of the venue that is normally not accessible. So that was pretty fun to see, to have like a venue we might know. All three of us have been there before, but also have a peek into somewhere we had never been.
Yes, I think the idea was really cool to say, let's go to where the festival would have happened this year, and to get some of the Tuska vibes. Because when I saw this gas keeping thing where they played in, it was only the ruins of it. I automatically thought, oh, I want to go to Tuska now. And they did something really cool out of it with this pyro show they did. They had a lot of fire all over the place, and yeah, it was nice. I think that was a really, really good idea to put the first concert at the Suvilahti venue.
Yeah, and that also made it in Helsinki, right? And so that was what the travel show, or the travel part of the show, was about. They showed us a few sightseeing spots in the city and talked about a bit of the history, because the gasometer where the band played, they talked about the history of the place a little bit. So this was, as I said, premiered on Friday, but the video was available to stream all weekend long. And that one I did not watch live. So it was actually quite fun to be able to watch it whenever.
I think it's weird that they took it offline after the weekend. Why, when I buy the ticket for that, why am I not able to watch it whenever I want?
I can imagine that they will put it online again after the last gig or season. Just an idea.
I don't think so.
I don't know, but yeah. It would be very, very sad if all that video material is lost
Yeah.
because it was such a good quality and so much effort to realize that. And if that was just for 1 weekend to look at, it would be sad.
That is true. I think though that gives the whole thing a bit more of exclusivity, and also it's kind of like a real festival, you know. You have the ticket for a festival, but the festival takes place. You can hold the ticket all year long, but it will take place on this specific weekend.
Yeah, but on the other hand, there was so much around that wasn't festival-like. So, for example, what you just mentioned, that they told us something about the venue, and there was another part where they told us something about Helsinki city, and they put it in the middle of the concert. So I think they played, or they showed us one song, and then they told us something about the Suvilahti venue. And that, for me, destroyed this feeling of a concert. Because when I want to watch a concert, I want to watch a concert. And if they give me additional material, what they also do on DVDs sometimes, then I can watch this before or after the concert, but I don't want to interrupt the gig, then watch this bonus material, and then continue watching the gig. For me, that was really, really weird. And so I wouldn't count that as a kind of festival experience because of this. That's what I also wrote in my live review, which you can read on metal-and-highheels.com, together with your reports, or with the report of Battle Beast already, and then later with the Apocalyptica report by Steffi.
What do you thought about the interview and that little, like sightseeing video?
I think the idea is really cool, but as I mentioned, I don't want to have this in the middle of the gig. After the gig, perfect, but not in the middle of the concert. I don't want my concert to be interrupted by anything. Not even if I sit on my sofa and watch the show on my TV. I want to watch the show and not an interview. If I want to watch an interview, then I go for watching an interview.
Yeah, I can understand. And about the content itself?
Well, there were some. Well, obviously they had to make it about the festival somehow, and I think the question with the Utopia was really cool when they asked what would be your utopia or your utopia moment, and one of the guys said, "Imagine everybody has an orgasm at the same time."
Yeah, that was super funny.
Yes, that was a cool answer. Yeah, it was okay. So what will you do? Many people around the world might not know the bands, so you can't go into further detail, even if you just want to keep it short. So what they did was totally okay. But again, don't put it in the middle of the gig. I'm really pissed about that, as you might have noticed.
A little bit. I kind of got the feeling you didn't like it.
Not in the way it turned out to be. The idea itself was really cool.
Yeah, because I was a little bit disappointed of the Battle Beast interview. There was a little bit, I don't know, just without any meaning. I like Battle Beast because I think they are very, they're a very funny band, ironic band. They have their own kind of humor. That's what I like about them. But at that interview, it was just a little bit awkward somehow. I can't describe it. It was a little bit too short. Like there were 3 band members, and everybody answered the question with one sentence, and there was just not like talking so much. It was more just like a short, okay, let's do a 5-minute interview just so we have an interview, but without any content. And that was annoying and disappointing for me. Do you also thought that, or?
Yeah, I understand why you didn't enjoy watching the interview, but I can understand why they did it, because I did something similar for the Rock Hearts Festival here in Germany. And we also, because we did it for the festival itself, we wanted to include something about the festival in the interview. And we also didn't want it to make it so long. So we also cut it down to, I don't know, about 5 minutes. And there was also a question about the festival itself. So obviously it was not for the fans who like Battle Beast a lot and know everything about the band and stuff like that. It was just to promote also the Tuska Utopia idea and the Tuska Utopia festival, and to add something about the band itself for those maybe who don't know the band so good. Because as I understand it, it's also a kind of promotion for Finland itself and also for Finnish bands.
Yes.
But anyway, if you know the band, if you know a lot of facts about the band, you don't get anything new out of interviews like this.
Yeah, maybe. I think then I need to watch it again. But it was with that point of view. But for me, it was more like
Of course, interviews that are longer, about 30 or 60 minutes, especially when they are in a podcast that you can take away with you and listen to whenever you want to, those are best.
definitely. Yeah.
So that was episode 1, and this weekend was the premiere of Battle Beasts episode, and that happened, or that took place. They performed. That's a better way to put it. They performed in a forest in Finland at a place that it had a really interesting story. It was a stone castle that was made by one woman alone. And it was this monument to her determination. And that was actually pretty interesting. The whole travel show part showed us beautiful forest landscapes and also gave us some pretty cool information as well.
I think that the venue was really cool, the battle where they put the Battle Beast performance.
Yeah, the birches were so amazing, and all the light shows within the trees, that was just wow. And they also had that bird perspective. I don't know if you can say it
They
like
use
that.
drones, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there was a what the fuck? Yeah, there was a huge light show all around them, all around the band, and yeah, I thought about all the deers who were a little bit scared, probably. But yeah, definitely amazing and impressive. Yeah, and it fits very, very well to Battle Beast and their music. Yeah, made it even more pathetic than it already is. But that's okay.
They also performed, and this is a common thing that we had seen with all of with other kinds of virtual shows. Battle Beast needed the reaction from the audience. Nora kept the parts of her performance where she tells the audience to sing along and stuff like that, and there was nobody. I can imagine, I don't know, the roadies and the techs, going wild. But at some point, she literally told the guitarist to sing along with her, because it was just too annoying, I guess. That was really, really, I don't know, it took me back to reality. And also another little annoying thing that took me back to reality. Well, not that the encouraging people to sing along was annoying, because I was clapping in the middle of the song, even though I was watching at my computer, after every song. One tiny technical detail that really annoyed me was that the editing of the video was sometimes a little bit weird. Like, Nora had her arm outstretched upwards, and the next second her arm was in a completely different position, and the audio fit and the singing fit, but I don't know if they did multiple takes or something, but there's no way she could have moved that fast.
Yeah, so they obviously did it several times.
Yes, I was paying really close attention. And by the way, I watched that one live, or yeah, live in air quotes, because obviously the performance was taped beforehand and made into this whole show, right? But the premiere part is actually the cool thing that makes it a kind of live stream. And so there was a chat on the website where people were actually writing. There were people from saying hello from the UK, from Brazil, from the US, from Germany, from Finland as well. They were approximately 370 people watching at the same time from all over the world. And they were actually also celebrating the songs and the performance. And there were people from Semi Live as well. Who Semi Live is the platform that is where the shows are all hosted, so to speak. And so they were also very friendly, welcoming everybody and encouraging them to interact with each other. So that was actually pretty cool. I also watched it with a friend. We were video chatting, so that was a really different experience than when I watched Turmion Kätilöt on my couch alone at a different time.
That makes it a bit less DVD-like, maybe.
Yeah, but it makes it a bit more of the experience of sharing this experience with more people. I did feel connected as a metal community with more people than just myself. I didn't feel as isolated anymore. Yeah, so that was really cool. That is a thing I think worth mentioning. It was through that chat also that I learned that the show was actually recorded in September.
Oh, okay, September. That's quite a long time ago.
Yeah, somebody asked, the trees look so green. Isn't it fall already?
Yeah, good
Makes
point.
sense, yeah.
Good point.
Yes, that's how people noticed, apparently. Another thing that took me back to reality, so to speak, was I was, sitting here at my computer in my gaming chair and everything, and I was like, if this were my favorite band, I would be standing up probably. I don't know. That was a little bit weird. It was more difficult to headbang sitting up. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed Battle Beasts episode.
Yeah, I did also. And I missed them live. I watched them, I think now 3 years ago at the real Tuska. And oh shit, I just remembered that gig, and I still noticed that I told to Pia once upon a time, wow, that's such a fucking amazing live band and one of my favorites, I would say. And yeah, I just remembered that point yesterday, and yeah, I want to headbang, but that was a little bit too weird to do it alone in my room. There was no mosh pit.
Do you mosh alone sometimes?
Yeah, but not if there's a video that makes it even more crazy. Awkward. But yeah, of course I need to train my neck muscles, of course.
Yeah. I can tell you something embarrassing about my youth.
Did.
I really used to train headbanging because when I was at my first concert, I was headbanging all the time. So for the whole hour, and the neck pain was so horrible that I thought, okay, what can I do to not have this extreme neck pain? Because I went to a lot of concerts of bands from my area here. And so I really did that. I did headbanging 5 minutes per day to train my neck muscles.
That's amazing. I love you. And
That's
definitely.
amazing.
It's so important. And I also noticed, also if I do headbanging alone in my room, just for fun, because I feel it. If then I'm on a concert and there's so fucking much more emotion and energy, and so also the headbang is much harder than in my room. That's always too much. And after that, it's also fuck hurts. Next day is mostly worse than than the day itself.
I
The
can tell you
moment
what
itself.
works pretty well.
Yeah.
You have to dry your hair with the mosh pit or
Yes.
with with headbanging.
Yeah, definitely. That's best technique.
Because of the weight, the hair weighs much more when there is water in it. And
Mm.
so, but it's very difficult to find a place where you can do that because everything is wet afterwards.
Yeah, okay. You can first use a towel and then do it. Also saves energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the third episode that will close the first Tusca Utopia season is Apocalyptica. And that one is going to be premiered this coming Friday, November 27th at 9 p.m. Finnish time. And yes, I will include in the show notes a link to obviously everything, but also a link to our report about all these episodes and to where you can get the tickets to this show if you want to be part of that experience. And obviously, you can find the show notes at metal-end-highheels.com/podcast79.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the live event. That's my live event of these 3 seasons. And yeah, they will play Apocalyptica. Will play at church ruins. I think they wrote. Yeah, ruins of Church of St. Michael. Okay, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Is there anything else to add about the Tuska Utopia stuff?
But Pia, you also had questions for.
Yeah, I got some questions for you because I'm really interested in what you think about it. The first thing is, what will happen after COVID-19? Because I can imagine, especially bands who do something out of the living room or play or stream their show somehow, I can imagine that they say, well, if we don't play a tour, if we don't go on tour, but we want to do something to stay in touch with our fans, well, let's just do a digital show on Saturday or whatever. So do you think that bands will do stuff like this in the future, even if they could go on tour for the times when they don't have a tour schedule?
I think it definitely depends on the bands. I think mostly enjoy it much more to be on stage to interact with the audience.
Yeah, sure. But when you release an album, then you go on tour, and then you have time when you are not on tour, but you can still do a digital show in the middle of this time when you are not touring.
Like an add-on and just
Yes.
for fun.
Additional, yes.
Yes, okay. Maybe if they have time and money for it. I think it's still quite expensive and also takes lots of energy to realize such an idea.
I think not many will, and I think that's a mistake.
Yeah.
I have mentioned this so many times because I can't find a better example than Trivium. Trivium has been live streaming for several years now, and they are doing pretty well in the crisis. All of them, or almost all of the members, each and every one of the band members from Trivium have their own Twitch channel. they are already making revenue from that. They are earning money with that. They stream how they practice their instruments, they stream games, they just stay in touch with their audience, and people pay to watch that. And when they were allowed to tour, when they toured for The Sin and the Sentence, they used to stream the concerts on Matt Heafy's Twitch as well. They took this streaming backpack with them and just put it there. And people went crazy in that chat. I went crazy in my bathroom while they were playing. I was getting ready to work in the morning and they were playing late in the US somewhere. And it was a great soundtrack to my getting ready. And they are also making money from that. And that's how they can do something like stay very well afloat during a global pandemic where they cannot go out and tour. And they can buy a plane hangar to turn into their rehearsal space. And they can rent an arena to do a really cool live performance that was watched by so many people around the world. They were one of the first doing this in the pandemic as well. And I think those musicians that are discovering Twitch for themselves, there are so many, and other streaming platforms as well. They should stick to that and just make it a new source of income and a new source of staying in touch with the fans, promoting their stuff, and just that's in my opinion what they should do. But I know that not many will. I don't think.
I agree.
I think we also compared or just talked about different things. You think more about doing both at the same time. So streaming just gigs you already do. And I thought about that. Like Tuska Utopia, this special show just for that one purpose, just for the live stream. And that what you tell us is, I think, more realistic to do. To put it online, and if you're already on the stage and play, so you can also stream it. That's definitely more realistic to do. But I think also lots of more work, of course, for them, because if they need to interact in the digital world with the fans, they need to react in the real world with fans at merch stands and so on.
Yes, and it's also not only about the bands, as we were just talking about Tuska Utopia. In the interview that you will listen to in a moment, the CEO of Tuska, Eka Mäkinen, also said that that's probably just going to be, or that he would like to keep doing it, to keep making Tuska Utopia long term. And I can see why. It's like just different. It doesn't replace the real thing, but it also doesn't try to. It's just something different that can happen parallel to the rest. And that's the thing, I think, that we should totally say when we are talking about alternatives to live shows. It's not exactly a replacement, because nothing will replace a real concert or a real festival, never ever. But we also don't want a replacement. We want to be able to go back to festivals, but meanwhile, we can also very much enjoy these kinds of other things that people are putting out.
True. Next question. Do you think there will be the comeback of a DVD?
No.
In streaming form, yes. Not in physical form, maybe?
Yeah, okay. So, but I think the concept of DVD is old and dead. And nowadays you have streaming platforms, and video platforms.
I also thought about just grabbing some of my live DVDs that are years old and just rewatch them. And then I thought, okay, why, if you do a stream, you can give it a try putting that on a DVD with a nice cover and stuff and just see how it turns out.
That's right, but do you think people will buy it if they have also the opportunity to stream it somewhere? Not stream like live stream, but watch a video stream in the internet.
Because especially in the metal scene, there are many people who collect everything by the band that they like. And so I think they would also buy a DVD, especially when there is bonus material on it that you cannot watch in the stream. For example, the long version of the Tuska interviews, if there are long versions of them, or something else. So you can put behind the scenes material on it and stuff like that. So I thought about maybe that's the comeback of the music DVD. And I have the impression that bands, I'm very happy about that. I have the impression that bands put a lot of effort these days into their music videos, and they produce more music videos now because they have the time for it and they need to do it to make people aware that they are out there and release new music. So do you think there is the comeback of the real music video?
Instead of lyric videos?
Yes.
I hope so. I hope so much for it because I think that's the best way to present, to show your music in that visual way, not only the music itself, the audio version, so to speak, but also to underline it with pictures and videos, and that's so important and makes it a whole artwork. So I hope definitely that there will become, or not become, that there will be more high quality music videos also in future, also after pandemic. And
That gives me hope.
Yes, and that was our show.
yes.
But we have Pia has something to plug before we go over to listening to my conversation with Eka Mäkinen, the CEO of Tuska Festival.
Yeah.
Pia, you have something. You are talking with other people. Should we be jealous?
No, you shouldn't. Yes, I want to promote my new podcast, which is called Pommesgabel. Pommesgabel, if you translate it into English, it stands for the metal horns. But if you would translate it word by word, it's a fry fork. So the fork that you eat your fries with, because it looks like the metal horns, and that's why here in Germany we call that sign the Pommesgabel. I did it together with two friends of mine, Marcel and Jakob, from the German online magazine PowerMetal.de. And what we do there mostly, or what we planned to do mostly, is that we talk about the sound check that they do, because they listen to a lot of music during a month. It's 25 up to 30 albums that they listen to. And then they rate every single one of them. And in the end, there is a winner, a soundcheck winner. And of course, also the other albums are rated by all of the people who listened to them. And we talk about the top 3 or the top 5. Always depends on how many albums are on the top 5 and top 3, and about the last 3 albums. And then we pick some releases that we think are worth talking about. And that's what we basically do in the soundcheck episodes. But we also do interviews and talk about other topics. So there is a lot to come. There are already some episodes out there. Not all of them are in German. Most of them obviously are. But just If you understand German, feel free to also subscribe to that podcast. And if you don't understand German, there are still some episodes in English that you are also very welcome to listen to.
Exactly. And now that you mention it, yes, we are also on every podcast platform. So I will link to Pia's new podcast in the show notes as well. And, well, you know what to do. Follow us on Spotify, subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Apple Podcasts. That's what it's called now. On Apple Podcasts and wherever you listen to this show.
You can also listen to this show now on YouTube.
Yes, there's something new there as well.
Yeah.
Hell yes. And thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you. And yeah, we will listen to you in 2 weeks once again.
All right, now enjoy our talk with Tuska CEO Eka Mäkinen about Tuska Festival, about this weird year of 2020, and about how Tuska Utopia was made.
And also how he became the CEO.
Yes.
Yeah, you learn a lot about him as a person and, as Kiki said, about the Tuska Festival.
All right, then.
Enjoy and bye-bye.
Bye!
Hey everybody! I have the pleasure to talk to Eka Mäkinen today, the CEO of Tuska. How are you doing today?
Hey, nice to be here. Thank you. I'm feeling quite good. Tomorrow is our big day for us, so it's basically same feeling that always we have, just like one day before the festival starts. So really,
that's so good.
yeah, really excited and sort of a good feeling on the stomach.
Yeah, I betcha. But let's not yet go forward with all of the good news and everything, because we were just saying that we've actually met before shortly, and my colleague Pia talked to you at Tuska in 2017. So on that interview, you didn't tell us much about your background, though. Can we talk a little bit about what you do and or did professionally before Tuska?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that.
So you've been the CEO since 2015, right?
Yeah. That's 2014. I think it was 14, something like that. So approximately like 6 years from now. So this year would have been my sixth Tuska as a CEO here, and also as a festival director. The previous 10 years before that, I was in Nosturi, which is a 1,000 capacity venue in Helsinki. Actually, it's now teared down, but it used to be they on the same size in Tavastia, which is a famous legendary club in Helsinki, and basically the same size was Nosturi. So I was a program manager there. So what I did was basically I was booking the bands in there. We had like 200 nights per year. It was super fun, and before that, the 8 years before that, I was also booking bands in one club in small city in Finland called Vaasa. That was Club 25, and that was basically the 18 years of my life. I've been booking bands in a club, and the last 6 years I've been doing festivals, so outdoor things. So this is the first time of my life that I don't have any keys on my pocket to some club, and that feels weird. That's something that I miss about, because there's always when you have a restaurant or you have a club, it's somewhere, it's sort of your second family, and the like daily office isn't the same thing. It's not the same thing at all.
Sure. Yeah, I can imagine.
And of course, on the clubs, you see every night. You see the people while you're doing it. While see the happy faces on the front row. That's something that gives you back quite much. But if you're doing a festival, it's basically you do that whole year round, and then you just got the 3 days. It goes like, So there's a lot of pressure for those 3 days, because that's the only point that you're doing, the whole year.
Yeah. Oh, that's a very good point. I don't think I had ever thought about that.
Now I feel like I'm sad of my situation, but I'm not. It's super cool to do festivals, but it's something that I miss about is on the club scene, that you see people.
And how has the experience of managing Tuska been?
It's been a really cool ride. If when I started, the festival was doing it was doing well, but it could have been more health, even better. And when I came in, the organization says that they wanted the CEO that they need to hold down, and that was a key point for me. I needed, something must be changed for Tuska. It's always been a good festival, and it always have a really good reputation. And I have booked bands, or been agent for bands, to Tuska, and it's really familiar festival to me before even I started here. But I needed, there was something to do with the like cooperation, partnerships, and something more experience to the customers, and that was the key points that I saw that needs to be done a bit more, give more effort for that. And since it's an old festival, it's been around quite many years, since 98. So basically, you don't want to do everything on 1 year. I didn't want to come in and be as a new festival manager that changed everything. But I saw it, that in 5 years we're gonna do this and this and that, and we started immediately on the first summer, and it's been good. I think we started for like a couple of thousand people in 3 days, and last summer we had like 45,000 people. Or last year, I must say, not last summer, unfortunately, but last year we had that. So it's been growing, but still keep all the cooliness that small genre festival has, in my opinion, which is really, of course, just from my side. Hopefully, you can feel the same.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, both have its charm, right? Those huge, massive festivals with people from all over the world and huge acts are also cool. But yes, like seeing the more familiar faces in a smaller festival also has a lot of charm.
Yeah, I think that too. There's something, that if we would have Metallica and Iron Maiden and Rammstein playing, it wouldn't be Tuska. So there's a certain limit where we want to grow, but then there is a sort of a limit that after that it goes too big, and then it's not a genre festival, because it's a sort of a cult where people come in and everybody can feel similarity to the other metal fans on the audience. But then when you go bigger, you're 20,000 people per day. You don't feel the same. There are a lot of people on different
Wavelengths, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's a strange it's strange for our business, that it's focused on metal scene, not just white rock.
I was there in 2018, and I was actually really impressed, not only by as you say, like the festival is still big, but it's still familiar and super friendly. And also, I really liked like the extras that no other festival has. For example, the discussion panels. That I was a big fan of that one. Who comes up with all of these ideas? Is that all you who has been developing all of that in the past few years?
Yeah, I have passed the ball on that one, but then there's a lot of people who take the ball and start and exploit a bit more. And we have last few years our designer Jenny Kääriäinen, she's just genius. So lot of ideas we come up with the whole group, or I talk with Jenny, and then it expands a bit, and then we can finally hook up some cooperators who to operate with. Then we had a lot of new things coming up for this summer, which was sort of that this is going to be the biggest thing on every corner of Tuska, or not the biggest but the best, and all that. So it's been improving every year, and I'm glad that you mentioned about the Solmusari stage where we had the panels and all that, and because that's something that myself, when I go to the festival, there are a lot of other things than bands that I want to see. Of course, the bands are on the focus, but still, you can have a relaxed 3 days that you can just thrown into a different world, all of somehow related to metal scene.
Yes. And it also fits the interests of metalheads. It's not like metalheads only like metal music and that's what we do 100% of our time. I remember there was also the exhibition of the Beelzebub's comic that had gone viral and is getting even bigger and bigger, and was actually also on the lineup for this year. So that was also a nice thing to see, that it was already kind of part of, or being, it was part of Tuska in 2018. It was being already integrated into the scene, which was also very important for the band to grow.
Yeah. Nice that you point out that. I don't know which one take the advantage of who on that thing, because we didn't know that there's going to be a band with Beelzebubs, and of course we saw that it was going viral already then, and we called him, do you want to draw a couple of pictures for our marketing to this? We had the street campaign that was drawn by Beelzebubs, and they were guessing on the comics, on the stripes. They said, guessing the bands, and we were giving some hints about, like, I think we had Gojira playing, and there was sort of a like like Gojira on the picture, and it was sort of a hint that something gonna come up, and it was really fun. And then suddenly on our fans love it, and Beelzebub fans love it, and on the campaign we just said to this destroyer guy that you should make a band out of this, you should make it as a real band. He just started smiling, and I said, oh my god, you are taking advantage. You have already banned, and now you're using us as a campaign. We thought that it was other way around. But it was fun though, of course, and our promoter is his agent basically nowadays, and
Wow.
yeah, so
that's a lovely synergy there.
Yeah, it is. And he's an amazing artist. He's really good. He's a genius.
Indeed.
Everybody who hasn't been checking, you should. It's really fun.
Yes, we will link that in the show notes for the podcast. You were just mentioning also 2019 was a record-breaking festival year for you, and you had big plans for 2020. And then, of course, it was followed by the crisis of the pandemic. Can you tell us a little bit what was going on behind the scenes up until the decision? Because I think you were you had hope until the last minute, and the decision to postpone and or cancel was very late in comparison to other events and festivals.
Yeah, of course we waited. We needed to wait until some authority or government said that it's not allowed to have the event. We needed to wait that, because otherwise, of course, all the contracts were signed. You cannot just say to the bands that no, you cannot come. Even you need to have the force majeure situation. So in that sense, we needed to wait at that. But it was sort of it was during March that when the pandemic came in. So we basically stopped everything and see what was the situation, and see the plan B, plan C. But quite fast we knew that there isn't gonna be plan B or C. Moving the festival to the autumn, or cut down some foreign nets and doing Finnish act, or doing it smaller capacity or something like that. We thought, it's not gonna happen. Is useless, to make any calculations on those plan Bs. We thought it's gonna be plan A or nothing. So it was a really, really hard moment for all of us, because as you mentioned, it was supposed to be the biggest and coolest year ever, on lineup wise, on all the activities on inside, that we didn't even chance to release it yet. There was a lot of new things, one new stage, and a lot of things that we were really waiting for. And of course it was a big jump for like financially, that we need to build, grow as a festival. And there's a lot of money involved for doing that, as program wise and on the infrastructure. But we were sky high on the tickets. It was all the figures were exactly what we were aiming for before the sad pandemic thing came in. So it of course for us it took a while to swallow the thing that it's not gonna happen. Of course we're realistic that we knew that it's not gonna end well for this summer, but still mentally said that all the super cool things that we had it on our hands, the best lineup ever, best everything, and amazing crew. We made a lot of changes. We had the best crew so far on the whole event, and suddenly you just need to swallow the truth that it's not gonna happen. We're not gonna see this day, with this lineup and with these people. So yeah, it took a while for us as organization to to say that it's really gonna end up like this. But as soon as we got the information from the government that it's going to be banned for summer, we made the release immediately. It's just like a couple of minutes after that, we made the decision that okay, it's this year is going to be canceled, and we managed to save some bands from the contract to the upcoming 21 summer now.
Oh, not all of them were able to just get postponed and not cancel completely?
Yes. So we have some lineup already released for this summer already. Then on, I think it was like April, May this year that we made the cancellation. So we said that these bands is gonna perform this upcoming summer. And of course it was a hard choice, because it was like May this year that you need to plan how the pandemic's going to be 21 on the same time. You didn't know, how long it's going to take, what's going to happen with the second wave and stuff like that. So it was really early time to make the decision. But we thought, let's do that. And most of the people want to spend their ticket for upcoming summer, which was nice, of course, because there was like 6 months time that you couldn't, refund the ticket. Yeah. And most of the people didn't want to refund. They want to use the ticket, which is super cool for us.
Yeah, that must be also nice to know that your fans are so loyal, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we are really, really happy about that. And but then we stopped all the engines on the festival, and I myself I would have gone mad if I wouldn't have such a good net of people on the same position. All the festivals, the managers, the agents, the bands, everybody were in the same position. Actually, all the mankind was on the same situation. But there was a huge safety net on the business. everybody called to each other every day. Sometimes you were the shoulder, and sometimes the other one was shoulder for you, and you just wanted to talk with people, to get the old shit done. And I think that kept us sane during the crazy spring that we had. Whoa, I don't want to even think about that anymore. I just got chilled,
Yeah.
of those times. Let's look at.
Let's pick up the nicer things. I was about to ask, what are the silver linings, the positive aspects of this whole situation? Because I mean, for some people, it has been a good breather and a break to maybe recharge the batteries as well. And I mean, you are bringing a whole new product, because we are also today talking about Tuska Utopia, which is a metal performance meets travel show that you put together this year. So tell us about that idea. How did that start?
We are not the ones that charge our batteries and not do, don't do nothing. So basically, right after we knew that festival is not gonna happen, we started to think what else we gonna do. And we had a lot of questions from because we organized concerts from the arenas to the small clubs during the year. So everybody asked, are you gonna do like streaming concerts? Is it gonna be like festival, stream it somehow? Is it gonna be something digital during Tuska weekend or in the summer? We thought that we're not gonna do a second version of Tuska, second version of the concerts. There were a lot of platforms that started to do streaming concerts around the world, and in Finland there were a lot of them, from the rehearsing places to the studios and like live performance and streaming and stuff like that. And we thought we're not gonna do the same. When you have a rock club, you take the audience away and put the band on stage and film it. It's I don't want to say it as a negative thing, but we didn't want to do the same
as everybody else. Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we started to bounce the idea, and after a couple of months, we came up with the idea that since the travel and the concerts are more or less locked down, we're gonna combine these two and start to go around Finland with bands and play concerts and record the concerts on weird locations in metal country Finland, and stream those as a recording outside to the rest of the world. And it's been super fun. It's been so nice, after all the shit that went through on springtime and on the summertime. Suddenly when we took the whole circus out and went to the forest to do the recordings. It was just from the director to the bands to the whole crew. Everybody were just so thrilled to do something, and all the energy is inside on the episode. I just love it. It's amazing. It includes 45 minutes concert from the band, and then there's approximately like 15 minutes insert on the travel, and it's hosted by Sami Albana from Lost Society. He's a great person, so energy positive, and he's taking the roots, giving the roots of the place, and what's the link between the band and the place and the location, and gives a story behind that. And then there's an interview also with the band. It's super cool. It's something that nobody has done before, and I think it's just a cool way to explore Finland now when the lockdown is still going on. So you can have a glimpse, what's happening in Finland, and some weird thing, that has in here. And then we have the great Finnish metal bands that are performing on the series. It's been great. It's been great to do, and to be honest, we haven't recharged our batteries.
But you have found other creative outlets, so that's also amazing, and is also something that has been happening around the world as well. More so in the music industry that needs any other source of income right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, exactly. And for the bands too, bands cannot do shows. They can tour around Finland with a cut down capacity. 1,000 capacity club, you can sell like 150, 200 tickets. So it's not financially good thing. But our mental health is good for the audience, that they can come to the show, see their bands performing a couple of shows per day. But it's exhausting, of course, for the bands, to do a lot of like many shows on the same day to get approximately the same amount of people that you would have just with one show. So with Tuska Utopia, we can give also the bands the chance, to play for the international audience.
Yeah, and grow their fan base even more. That's really cool. And it's also just starting, right? This month, no, well, actually tomorrow, as you just said. The first ever episode of Tuska Utopia is airing with Turmion Ketylot performing. And then next week it's Battle Beast. The week after is Apocalyptica. And that's only the first season of Tuska Utopia, as you have announced. Can you tell us what is in the workings? What can you reveal already about season 2? What places will you take us to? What bands will we see?
Buy tickets and we will tell you. Of course, we wanted to see these first 3 episodes, how it's going to be. But there are a bunch of bands on the line who want to, be already on this first season with us. So there is a good potential on the lineups. And our crew were having a trip to the Lapland last week. They were, our designer and our producer were checking out 12 locations around northern Finland last week. And I would say we would get a couple of like 3 new locations for the next season we found from that trip. Because of course there's an artistic idea, to this location, it's just super good for this and that band. But then on the location might be some problems, how to do it, it's not impossible to shoot it or to make the production there. So that's why we scout like more places than we, like 12, and probably then we can have the next 3 from that series. But yeah, we're looking forward. But of course, we need to see, how the things are starting with the first season. The production is quite huge. It's money wise, it's basically the same thing with 1 episode that we would do an ice hole show. So on the streaming concept, people buy tickets 1 hour before the premiere.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so we are now on the position that tomorrow there's going to be our first premiere. And still we don't know, how we're going to go. Which is weird that on the other hand, if you would do a like ice hole concert, it would be pretty scary moment that you would, do the whole thing and have the band on stage, but then you would need to sell all the tickets from the door. So basically, it is how this thing goes. So this is the first time that we are doing it. So it's cool to see the results and how people react to it, and of course then we can make the decisions for the next season about like what people like, what they probably didn't like, and stuff like that. But we are so happy ourselves, how the result is. It's gonna be amazing. I say this to my as an open heart. I say that you should watch it. It's super cool.
Yes, I look forward to watching it a lot. Is there anything else you would like to say about Tuska Utopia?
I would think that you said that probably band can, find new fans out of it. I would gladly see that, as a result of what we are doing, because there could be some crossover audience that if you want to explore Finland as its weirdness, you're thinking, you want to move into Finland, you wanted to see something, what are the cool, what's happening in here. So I think this is a good time, for the bands and to us to, show what's Finland's about. And that's something that I'm really sort of proud of, because the bands now are from here, all the technical crew is from here, the host is from here, everything that our partners are local, but then we are doing the whole thing as an international program. So in that sense, I'm really excited, because every time, when you're doing something international, is something that you, of course, then you need to be proud of, the country that you're flagging on the program. So I feel really good about that.
That's cool. Are you getting maybe some support from, I don't know, the Finnish government or something? Because you are promoting your country, as you said, worldwide pretty strongly.
Yeah. There was some help from the Visit Finland, and we've been talking with a lot of authorities in Finland about this, and we got some funds for the starting during the summer because of the pandemic, to start to build on the concept. So we got some funds for that, and we are really, of course, glad about that. And also the Finland is really glad that, if you give some funds to some organization that otherwise would be just like close their door for 1 year. So this is something that came up with the effort of them. So I think that the train goes on the both directions. I don't know, is that an expression in Finland, but in English, but in Finland it is.
Right. Yeah, talking about expressions, if you're already going to take us to see Finland and listen to Finnish musicians, can you also teach us some Finnish?
I would say Turmion kätilöt ensi-ilta huomenna. Kannattaa katsoa. It means Turmion kätilöt premiere is tomorrow. Better watch it.
Oh, that's perfect. That's a great ending. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
I hope we will be able to meet again in 2021. As you mentioned before, the lineup for the real festival next year is great. It has Korn, Deftones, Devin Townsend, Ginger, Elevati, Beast in Black, and many, many more. Beelzebubs, who we also mentioned as well. So people can look forward to that if they kept their tickets, and otherwise get their tickets for next year, so that we can hopefully also all meet again physically and not only digitally. But it has been really great to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. And hopefully we're going to see you also in 2021 at
Yes.
Tuska. Thanks, Kiki.